Welcome back to another segment of Heavyweight Conversations with Sean.
And Sean, and on this one, we're going to be talking about the Stockley verdict. Oh, I've been dying to do this.
Up next, stay tuned. All right, man, December 20th, 2011. A huge day in St. Louis. If no one understands or no one knows, let's do a little history on that. That is the night, or the day, or the evening, rather, that Anthony Lamar Smith, a 24-year-old African-American male, was gunned down by St. Louis Metropolitan Police Officer Jason Stockley.
Yeah, you know, there's been a lot of conflicting points of views on what happened, both from the left and the right. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to go over all the court evidence that I found on Newsweekly.com. We'll post the link down below, and you can actually see what happened, why the verdict was passed, where they didn't convict Mr. Stockley with a crime. And let's talk about it right now. So take us back, you start us off, take us back to that date. What happened on that day?
Well, on that day, Mr. Anthony Lamar Smith, he pulled into like a Church's Chicken, some kind of restaurant, a chicken restaurant, and he exited the vehicle, went into the restaurant, came back out of the restaurant, went back in again and came out, and this is when the police pulled up on him.
Stockley and his partner.
Yeah, Stockley and his partner, Bianchi is his partner's name. They pulled up behind his silver Buick, blocked him in.
Why? Why would Stockley do that? And here's what I found through a little bit of research myself. Mr. Smith, unfortunately, had already built up a reputation in the area for being a notorious drug dealer. He has had felonies in the past for drug convictions, and Officer Stockley saw Mr. Smith entering the area. Well, the chicken restaurant was in the area where he's been notorious for selling drugs. So with what's it called? And all an officer needs is suspicious cause or. Just really all suspicion just to stop you, really, to see what you're doing. Because if you've been in that area before selling drugs, chances are you're probably in that area doing it again. So did you think it was wrong for Stockley to stop Mr. Smith for that reason?
My thing is, well, I'm kind of conflicted in that myself, because I feel that, one, I would rather you have a for sure knowledge than a suspicion. But that's just me personally. But my thing is, hey, I'm not a police officer, so I don't really know that code for certain. But he had a suspicion. But even if you have a suspicion, stop and say, hey, you know what? Just let me ask you a few questions. But maybe Stockley got out to ask that, and at which point Anthony Lamar Smith actually backed his vehicle out and hit the police car and left. And
would it be fair to say that at that point Smith was evading police? Like, he literally got in his vehicle, and there's footage everywhere of this. Gets in his vehicle, and without regard to the police safety, rams the back of his vehicle into the police car to get away.
Well, yeah, and that could be so, because it's like, hey, I'm caught red-handed or whatever have you, and so I need to get out of here.
Because, I mean, honestly, if an officer stopped me, would pull behind me, and the stereotype is you're white, Chris, of course you would do this. I would stop and say, how may I help you? I have nothing to run. I have nothing to fear. I broke no laws. I mean, for you, for example, you're an outstanding citizen. What would happen? Same scenario. Officer Stockley and his partner pull up behind you, block your vehicle. Are you going to ram your vehicle and run away, or are you going to say, hey, guys, what's going on?
If I'm not guilty of anything, I would stop saying, hey, you know, first off, why are you blocking me in? Like, as if I have done
like
something.
I've already done something wrong. Right. Why are you blocking my vehicle? Right.
So, but if I've done something, I'm not going to, they got me blocked in. I'm going to run on foot. If I'm guilty of something, I'm not going to get in my car.
Right, so then it's safe to say that Smith already in his own mind says, oh shoot, I'm about to get busted for something I shouldn't be doing, I'm out of here. So he crashes into the police vehicle, he hauls ass down 85 miles per hour pursuit that lasted, I think, 3 minutes down a public road. This is a neighborhood.
And this is in December, so the roads are slippery and wet.
Slick, very slick. Now, how do you feel, I'll give my opinion next, about that moment right there, the police pursuit through a very, I don't want to say busy, but it's a public neighborhood.
Yeah. I would say, and I have a couple of friends who are police officers, so I'm always picking their brain on different stuff because I'm ignorant. I don't understand a lot of stuff. I don't know. And side note,
Always ask.
people always use the term ignorant as an insult, but it really has to do with lack of information, lack of knowledge. And so I'm ignorant to like certain codes of what policemen can and cannot do. So I asked my police officer friends, and I'm like, and they say police are technically not supposed to pursue and as far as vehicle chase, because they endanger people in the public.
Now, mind you, this is talking to Missouri police officers. The
Yes.
statutes in other states are different. This is
yes.
here in St. Louis.
Right.
According to him and his sources, police officers are not supposed to pursue a dangerous suspect through a neighborhood because the odds are collateral damage,
Right.
hitting someone by accident and killing someone.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, Smith didn't give a rat's what about killing anyone. He just wanted to get away from police.
Right.
So here this dangerous felon who he has a history of felonies for selling drugs is speeding away from the police officers. The officers catch up. They bump his rear end. A crash happens, and then once you take from there.
And once this crash happens, mind you, during the pursuit, the dashboard camera and audio captures Jason Stockley saying, "We're gonna go ahead and kill this MF."
Yeah, we're keeping it PG-13 for reasons.
We're gonna kill this MF, and then like 60 seconds later.
But now leading up to it though, after the crash, we'll get to the hows and whys things happen.
Mm-hmm.
So Stockley gets out of his vehicle, approaches the car window. According to car documents, there's a little small verbal exchange between him and Smith, and then Lockley feared for his life, thinking that Smith was reaching for an unknown weapon, and shot Smith five times.
Within six or 7 inches.
Right, exactly.
He's at the door of the vehicle. Come on now.
Then that happens. You see other officers show up in the footage. Mm-hmm. You see Stockley go back to his vehicle to
Not once.
We'll get there. We'll get there. To put his rifle-issued gun back in the backseat of his cruiser. And then he returns to Smith's car. And then for some reason or another, he returns back to his police car to rifle through his bag. Mm-hmm. Then he returns to the vehicle, doesn't really administer any medical care, but then he slides into the driver's seat, where he finds the gun that he said that Smith was going for, which made him fear for his life to shoot. And now it all kind of comes to an end there. But does it? Now there are questions. Why did Stockley returned his vehicle for a second time to rifle through his bag? And then most importantly, the gun he found only had Stockley's
DNA on it. If a gun is owned by me, and I apparently have that gun on me, there will be some kind of DNA of myself on that gun, trigger, handle, whatever have you.
Right.
So that's question mark.
That's question. And then question two was what you brought up just a few minutes ago was, during the pursuit, Stockley distinctly said on dash cam footage, "We are going to kill this mother effer."
Yes.
That to me is intent.
That's intent, right?
Yeah.
Because, and I feel, this is me personally, I feel that but by this time, and people want to blame, he was in the heat of the moment, he'll say anything. I get that, but to say something as intense as that.
Right, but how many times?
And then it actually gets carried out.
I'm not trying to play devil's advocate here, although I kind of am. How many times have you gotten in an argument with someone and you said something where later you're like, that didn't help things. Yeah, I shouldn't have said that.
But even when you said it, did you actually follow through with it? Because you can be like, if I do something to you, like I slap you or do whatever, or do something personal, and you like get really mad.
I follow you. Like, what were the odds? 65 seconds
you're like,
later,
I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
And then, under normal circumstances, you don't do it. But when you actually do it,
and you have the power to do it.
You have the power to do it.
Yeah, that was damning, and that's why this case was reopened many years later.
Right.
Because they found that video evidence. They're like, okay, now we need to really look at this case. So then, that's why it was brought to trial. We find all this evidence. Like, did he plant the gun? Why'd you say MF? Now let's talk about each one separately. Let's talk about the MF one first. Court, underneath the link again, we're going to post it down below, Newsweek, they said in court the judge found no reasonable cause for concern when the officer in the heat of the moment said that sentence, "We are going to kill this mother effer." Because at the time, they were aggravatedly assaulted by Mr. Smith's car. Then they were led on a high-speed pursuit blood's boiling, blood's pumping, and he said something that could have been a Freudian slip. You know what Freudian slip is, right? It's where you are thinking about something that you actually want to do, and it slips out. You know, they didn't find that reasonable enough cause to say that he had intent to kill. What do you think?
To me, personally, I feel that he said it. It doesn't matter if he was in the heat of the moment. Whatever kind of excuse our judicial or legal system wants to put on it to protect and cover the police officers, I'm like, okay, there's no excuse. He said it. He did it.
Right.
And not just that. But my thing is this. If you feel your life is in danger, why are you walking up on a vehicle with a suspect that you feel is dangerous, and then you, like, within 5 or 6 inches, you fire 5 times, killing the suspect?
Well, okay, let's get to that, and that's the reason why did he approach the vehicle? Why did he approach the vehicle? Because a lot of times in any police videos I've seen, you have to apprehend the suspect. You have to.
But not just that.
But if he's dangerous, why would you do it alone? Why would you do just your partner?
Yeah.
Why don't you wait for backup?
Right.
Got it.
If your life is in danger, and then I've learned from a friend of one of my resources who's a police officer. Well, actually, we sat down the day the verdict happened, and we did like a church forum in a church and invited some police officers and a former police officer who was a detective for 30 years. He said it is by law, and the law has not changed, that anytime a police officer does anything like that, that vehicle has automatically become a crime scene. They are not to tamper with the vehicle or anything with it. Detectives are to come and deal with all that. As an officer, you are not to touch anything.
Don't touch anything in that vehicle.
So why did you go back to the car? It is an official
Yeah.
crime scene. So why are you going back and destroying or tampering with a crime scene?
And let's talk about that evidence that was found in the car. The gun. To me, the smoking gun. The one thing that I said for sure, Stockley is guilty of sin.
Right.
You know, when you find a gun in your vehicle, let's talk about how it got there. People were saying that he went back to his vehicle twice. One was to drop off his rifle. Saw that, nothing changes. That was what it was. But then he went back to his vehicle a second time, the rifle through his black bag in the back of his truck.
To find a product, Quick Clot.
Quick Clot to administer medical care. Excuse me.
And
to
you're not
Mr. Smith.
You're not a paramedic. So why are you doing that?
But officers are trained in life-saving techniques.
Yes.
They have to pass CPR. They have to pass dressing changes. They have to pass. They do have Quick Clot. A lot of officers do carry that because if they shoot someone, they can administer that to stop bleeding immediately. Officers are trained in the art of saving lives as well.
Yes. My thing is, why weren't paramedics called also?
They probably were. Maybe they were on their way. But he went and got it and supposedly went back to the car. But when he got there, Smith was already gone. They've already determined he was dead. And then he sits down, like you say, he wasn't supposed to do this according to police ethic and law. He sits down in the driver's seat to find the weapon that he saw Smith going for, finds it, picks it up with his bare hands, and unloads it. So that's how they determined in court that his DNA got on it. But it still doesn't tell us why.
Right. But Anthony Lamar Smith's DNA was never found.
Right. That still doesn't explain that. Why wasn't Smith's DNA on the gun? Like you said,
if it was his gun.
I'm a gun owner. I'm a Second Amendment right guy. I love guns. I think you should be able to own guns. I shoot all my guns. If you would swap my guns, you would find that my DNA is all over it. That and probably a few friends of mine who shoot my guns with me. So I find it kind of odd, especially because he's a drug dealer. Drug dealers, I'm sure, are packing heat. They would not surprise me that he would have handled that gun once or twice.
Oh, at least a couple. At
least enough to have somewhere on that gun DNA. So it doesn't make any sense. But the court, in court documents, you can read this on that link, said that since Stockley, unloaded the gun with his bare hand, that's why his DNA was on it, and the fact that Smith's DNA wasn't on it wasn't enough to say that that Stockley planted the gun.
My thing is, to me, that's even questionable, personally.
And why also on top of that little extra detail to it, the gun was a full-size revolver. Big enough to where when Stockley went back to his vehicle the second time, went through his black bag, had he carried that size gun out of his bag, from the civilian's cell phone video, from all the videos from the dash cam of him going through the bag, you would have seen him pull it out. You would have seen him walk that gun with it in his hand to the vehicle. And it's clear that Stockley's hands were empty when he went back to the vehicle to sit in the vehicle. So that was the other reason why they didn't buy the whole planted gun thing.
But it all sounds still fishy.
It's still, yeah. I mean, honestly, we live in America and people are corrupt. The system is corrupt.
Yes.
It's been proven to be corrupt. I'm not saying that this is set in stone, but unfortunately, that, with all that said, was enough for the judge to say, we don't got enough to convict this guy.
Which brings me to think about this. It's funny that with all the dashboard video,
Cell phone.
maybe, and I'm saying, and with addition to cell phone video, all of a sudden it's okay for you as a system to include all the cell phone footage and that you have to help your case to prove this cop is not guilty. But any other case where there's civilian video DNA, video footage, evidence, you want to all of a sudden kick that out, dismiss that.
Kind of like it's convenient. Like,
right. It's
we're not going to use this. We're not picking and choose that.
Our case, if it helps my cause.
Yeah, it helps your cause. You know, so with that said, all this, let's talk about the final thoughts. My final thoughts is this. Don't let situations like this deter you from believing in the justice system. Yes, there are bad cops. Yes, bad lawyers, bad judges. But then again, that's in every profession. We see that firefighters, bad nurses, bad doctors, you know, bad carpet cleaners, you know, and those people have to be weeded out. No, that's not comparing them. No, it's not the same when it comes to an officer taking a life. But it does mean that we have to make it aware that there are bad eggs, and those bad eggs got to be taken out. So why not fix the system? Why not do things like protest peacefully?
And my thing is, with that, the protests were peaceful, but then again, you do have those agitators and people from the outside. But my thing is this. Final thoughts on my end, through all of this, from Mike Brown to all of these police involved shootings, I have to conclude this. I don't believe in the justice system anymore. Not in the least bit. Because out of all of those police shooting cases, over 13, anywhere between 15 to 18 police cases of killing civilians, all of them were not guilty. I can't believe in a system that has that will give me those results. And then not just that, but my thing is, for all those who believe in good police or whatever have you, my thing is this. If there's good police out there, how come it's always the bad police that answers the call and gets to the scene first?
Okay. Well, how about now? Our thoughts have been shared. Let's hear your thoughts. Tell us down below. Share, comment, like. Hit the subscribe button for more heavyweight conversations with Sean.
And don't forget to hit the alert button so whenever there's a new video, you'll be the first one to see and comment.
That's right. We'll see you next time on Heavyweight Conversations.